everyone, and welcome to the first video of all four of us of 2019 of the Boosted podcast. What? Hello, my name is Abby Sherlock. I'm one of your hosts, and I'm joined by three other lovely ladies who will introduce themselves.
What's up? It's me. Hi.
Okay, I'll go. Hi, I'm Noelle. This is what my face looks like in case you didn't see the last episode. Hello.
Hi, and I'm Sabrina, also known as Sab, and yeah, this is me, not catfishing anyone.
No Snapchat filters today.
No Snapchat filters today. Well, last time we did have a video episode, but Sabrina and I were not there. Lovely Michaela and Noelle walked us through some of our New Year's resolutions and basically a little update on what some of our goals are for this year. But Sabrina was busy and I've been busy, so let's get caught up with us real quick. Sabs, what have you been doing the past month?
Yeah, if you guys haven't known, and if you don't, you need to follow me on my social media. But basically,
4K recently.
But basically, I have actually taken a new position with the 100 Thieves, which is, if you're not familiar with, it's an esports organization, and I've taken up the position as the 100 Thieves team manager for both the LCS and academies. So it's been a really great opportunity. Been really excited, and that's why I couldn't make it last time, unfortunately, but I'm really glad to be here. What about you, Abby?
Well, I'm cast as a lead in a play at my college at UC San Diego.
She's a musical girl.
I know. This is a Greek tragedy, though, so I have to,
She's a tragedy girl.
I'm a tragedy girl! That's valid, too. But basically, it's just a play, and I'm acting again, which is really cool for me. Yeah, so basically, we're really busy, but we're really committed to making content for this new year. So basically, we're going to get back into it with a subreddit spotlight.
But first, there's a volcano.
Volcano!
So moving away from the more community-based news story we have today, we have a bit of a business deal, or rather an undeal. We had a breakup, a business breakup. What was it about, Sabrina?
Well, if you guys haven't heard already, and you probably have if you're kind of interested in PC games, but Bungie, the creators of Destiny 2, recently announced that they were splitting away from Activision, which is a behemoth in the gaming industry, especially for PC games, with titles such as COD, and owning other companies such as Blizzard Entertainment, which kind of hits a little close to home here. But they announced that they did a split, and then following that, there was kind of a corporate shuffle where a lot of people were leaving and being promoted. There was tons of news just hitting within 3 to 5 days of all these higher level execs stepping down and changing their roles, and it was just very confusing in the time, for the community. Stockholders also responded with a huge plummet in stocks, especially after Activision Blizzard had decided to announce Diablo on the mobile phone. So there's all this, commotion going on. You've got your community, your fan base, the people playing the games, the people playing your bills, and your own kind of syndicate companies, stepping away from Activision. And if that wasn't enough, there were recently there's this rumor going on in the industry that they're being accused of fraud. And there is about $235 million that have not been accounted for, or they're not sure where it's going. So with this news coming out, it's definitely been really hard to hear, since a lot of us here love all those titles. We've loved Activision games since we were a child, or we've at least played them with Blizzard and Destiny 2, Bungie in the midst of it. But the positives that some people are saying is that now that Bungie kind of has their own volition on their own game, we might see some new Destiny 2 content coming through. So a lot of things are going on. I know you guys, some of us have a lot more experience with these kinds of games. What do you guys think is going on? Why is there so much corporate shuffle, stockholders, fans, and now this tax fraud?
I'm not sure, especially with Bungie, because after BlizzCon, they gave Destiny 2 a free copy away to everyone who attended, even with the e-ticket. So if Bungie's not with Activision Blizzard anymore, will that be taken off the Battle.net launcher? Will people still have their free copies if they obtained it from BlizzCon? Or because Destiny 2 was released under the parent company of Activision Blizzard, will Destiny 2 always be a Blizzard title? Or does Bungie get exclusive access to it. I'm not sure, because I know Destiny 2 wasn't the big hit that they were hoping that it would be.
Same thing for the new Call of Duty. Although it was the best-selling game, it did really well. It wasn't hitting the numbers that they were expecting, and this is kind of an ongoing trend that we're seeing with games. Red Dead Redemption had a similar expectation, and as well as it did, people are saying it's just not enough. And I think number one, it's like people are seeing this trend, but they're not really accounting for it in the right way. And I think it's also, as much as I don't want to say this, but I've seen this a lot, and it kind of hurts. But it seems like we're getting lost in the corporate side of things, and we're kind of losing the gamer essence of what gamers actually really enjoy.
I totally agree with you. The best games are made by smaller teams, because especially like, so two of the games that I'm really looking to in the next year or two, we don't even have release dates yet, but Death Stranding and The Last of Us 2. And that's, you know, my PlayStation-ness coming out, but the reason I love titles like that is because they're led by two visionaries in the industry, Neil Druckmann and Hideo Kojima. And, you know, and then they have their vision, and then they have a team who helps them make that vision come to life. And so I think, like you were talking about, Sabs, with a huge corporate situation, that, you know, a lot of stuff starts to get lost, and there's too many cooks in the kitchen, for lack of a better phrase. So I'm very much a believer in, like, as small as you can get, where it's not overrun with too many voices, but big enough that you can make a product that's quality.
Yeah, totally agree. And a lot of the talk also is a lot about revenue, right? Because Activision's seeing all this change, like, what is this going to affect the next year? And they made a public statement saying that no matter if Destiny or Bungie sees an operating income or loss, that they're not going to be accounting for that. And I think that says a lot. I think as much as we love, you know, the Destiny series, I think it's a beautiful game, and I spent a lot of big bucks on it too and spent my hours. I don't think Activision really saw it as something that was going to be viable in the long term, and that's really unfortunate, because people are really love the community, and once they announced that split, a lot of people, that was their pink slip, you know what I mean? So it's pretty hard time right now.
I just hope we've seen the worst of the shakeout, because like you mentioned, that news about Blizzard, it kept hitting. Like, everything going on with the stock market, all the people leaving and coming in, like, everything was just coming, like, so quickly that it makes BlizzCon seem like it was yesterday, with the Diablo mobile announcement and everything. That I'm hoping now we can just focus on Blizzard's new products, and maybe all of this fallout and shaking is them reorienting themselves. Maybe they're getting off the path that they were on before, and we're going to see this next Diablo game being something that's really taking us back to our roots, like our Diablo 2 roots. And I'm seeing that too as a trend, that maybe these bigger corporations are understanding. Maybe they've deviated more into the business side of things and their passion, and that's why we're seeing remakes of like Resident Evil 2, System Shock, the things that people loved, and they're hoping to bring that nostalgia from gamers, because the PC and console gamer base might not be the biggest percentage in the market compared to mobile gamers, but we're loyal customers. Like, if a system or a developer has our heart, we'll continue to follow their products. So hopefully people are realizing that.
Don't fall into years syndrome. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, you were talking about like loyalty, like, that goes for a long time. If you get it deep in your heart, and you get it there with memorable gameplay and good memories surrounded around a game, like, they kind of hook your way in, you know.
Definitely. So, and to add on that real quick, sorry, I was just gonna say real quick, the company that's really known for that has been Blizzard. Like, they have that, you know, level of quality. They said they wouldn't, like, put a game that gamers wouldn't like, and, you know, it's all about gameplay first, you know. So that's interesting that this is kind of surrounding the company that everyone really regards, just like that.
I was just gonna say, like, in regards to, like, the nostalgia and, like, bringing back other games, I just really hope the, like, Disney syndrome that's going on right now, where they're, like, remaking every movie that ever existed in, like, really weird CGI that's realistic, so it's still an animated movie somehow. Anyway, that's a whole other rabbit hole of Noelle's frustrations with the world. But anyway, I just really don't want to see, like, remakes of everything all the time, and that's all we get because obviously we love seeing creative new games from well. So
Speaking of creative new things, Noelle, what are your thoughts on Bandersnatch? I heard you watched it recently when you came out of your
so I watched it this
room.
weekend finally after like 10 people were like, you need to watch Bandersnatch. So here's the month late review that no one asked for.
I just asked. What do you mean?
So basically, I think the idea of Bandersnatch was really interesting. It was funny to see people online, people who are gamers, and then people who love like adventure games, and even going back to text-based games. People were really annoyed that it was like basically it was the hipster situation where people were like, oh well, people think this is cool now or whatever, but they didn't like it when it was a nerdy thing, or like stuff like that, which I think is dumb. Like, it's sort of, I liked it because it's bringing in people to something that we love a lot, which is interactive narrative media. That's like kind of my bread and butter, and so exposing that to a wider audience, a mainstream audience, I think is really cool. But I mean, like, overall when I watched it, I was like, I feel like all it really has is a gimmick. Like, it was a cool idea. Obviously, the production value was great. And the branching storyline thing worked decently well. But as someone who's, like, trying to go into writing for that type of format and, like, with branching storylines, I just think it could have been done better. I didn't feel like there was a real story arc. Like, the whole thing that happened is, like, I mean, spoilers, but, like...
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. I mean, I skip a few seconds if you don't want to hear, but like, it's just him like falling into madness. Like, there's not really like I don't feel like he's changed other than becoming crazier, which to me isn't really a full storyline. But I mean, it was entertaining enough that I, watched the whole thing and liked it. But there were certain gameplay aspects of it, if you will, that weren't awesome to me either. Like when it sort of kept looping you back to a binary choice and that sort of thing, because we played through like the whole thing, so it was like 2 hours long or something crazy. But yeah, I mean, overall I enjoyed it, and it was really neat to see that interactive format, like I said, in the mainstream. But I think in terms of that type of storytelling, just play a video game that does it better. Like, honestly, I would go play a Telltale game or something like that, because I think like the Walking Dead series is like amazing at that type of that. So
I think that might be, though, with your experience as a gamer, because I'm kind of wondering with that interactive format, how do you appear to people who aren't gamers? And, like, want to drag them into a movie like that? Because if you make it if you make too many gameplay mechanics in the movie, like, this is a Netflix platform. I think it'd be different if it was on Twitch, or if it was a YouTube series that people did, where it can, like, have a smaller audience, where they're not expecting a revenue to come in back. Because I think it might have been as scary to put as much money and production into something that you know has a limited fan base if you cater to either side. But I think the aesthetics of it were good. I just agree that they could have made I think it would have been not that it would have been good. I think it would have been better if they, like what you said, made the plot stronger. I think it was a weak plot, but I liked the binary choices because I think it made it less confusing for people. And the guy, I forget his name, but the director wanted to do a choice close to every 15 seconds because he didn't want to lose the attention span of the average human. And the overall footage, the reason why it looped back is because they put so much time into filming that the overall amount of film that they have equals like around 5 hours.
Yeah, and it's amazing, honestly, what they did. And I think it's a good point, too, of like what you said about the audience, because, for example, for an assignment, I had to go and play those like choices games that you see advertised on Instagram all the time, and it's like, oh no, I caught my boyfriend cheating on me, like that sort of thing. Which are not exactly highbrow, but it was interesting playing those because they're like it was amazing how self-aware they were. It was just like, we know what we're making, we know who we're making it for, and we're making a buttload of money off of it. So I think as long as they know who they're making it for, and that's a decision that they're making, I think that's fine. So I'll redact what I said, and I agree with Michaela. I think that it's like a soft introduction to interactive media. But I want the underline for what I say to be that I'm glad that we're introducing more people to this type of media.
And you think we're going to have more of it?
I hope so.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think so.
I hope it introduces people who otherwise wouldn't play video games to things like Telltale, or other companies that make games like that, or even just games in general.
Do you think we see a Black Mirror video game?
Probably, yeah, I think so.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Probably.
It's a long-standing brand. They figured out that this is something that works. People like it.
Yeah.
If they can make money off of it, they'll do it. To add on that, I thought Bandersnatch was pretty cool. Number one, a movie about making a game. I like that. You don't really see people really putting a lot of emphasis on the people who make the games. It's a lot about the people who are making like millions. The other thing I have about it is that it really read to me, as I think Noelle, you mentioned that you had an assignment like this, but there's like this mobile app called Episodes.
I played that one too.
Yeah. So have you heard of this, Abby? You seem like the only person who might be a little confused about this.
A little bit. What is it?
Okay, so Episodes is like a thing that you'll see on Instagram a lot. Like, to make it really clear, it's like you take on the story. It's a story game of like you play as a girl or guy. Like you're going to high school and like there's mean girls and there's like two guys you like. It's like basically like Americanized version of like a dating sim.
So it's a mobile game, right?
It's a mobile game, but it's very
literally
dating sim.
I think I might have played it. Like, was there like a one on the iTouch? Like, is it old?
Whoa,
I don't know.
I used to play games like that on the iTouch though, Abby. It might be a different one in the episode, but yeah, I used to play those. I chose the quarterback.
Yeah, there's always like an emo guy and a quarterback. Yeah, so or like a bad boy,
I know
right?
what you're talking about now. Yeah, I put it in context. Got it.
Yes, so it's very similar to Bandersnatch, but the reason why Episode makes so much money, it's one of the highest grossing apps like out there to this day, is because like when you're making these decisions, there is microtransactions,
You want to
related to that.
This is? No, it's like okay, so I played this kiss list, and you go to this high school, there's a list of like
Kiss
20
list.
people you gotta kiss or whatever. It's so wild. Anyway,
In high
but
school?
it's like, yes,
I
it's
kissed like
crazy.
2 people in high school. Much less 20. Okay, we can't.
But
I'm sorry, I'm
anyway,
promiscuous,
moving
Sabrina.
But it's like, okay, so I like am this person and I like each other and we kissed or whatever, and then it's like, do you want to go on an amazing date with them and like have an awesome time and like whatever, or do you want to disappoint them and bring dishonor on your family and your cow? Like it's like, and then you have to pay for like the fun choice, and then there's stuff with like,
Wait,
if
which
you
one's the
don't
fun
wear the
choice? I
outfit,
thought it was
you're
like the
dishonor
one that
your
like makes
family.
people like you.
Oh.
yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, and
But you don't lose if you don't pick the paid
Mhm.
one. It's just like you feel better about yourself.
yeah, and there's,
It's awesome.
I mean, I watched a lot of gameplays about this because it was pretty interesting comparing that to Bandersnatch, because I think in the future, if they do like pursue this, they might make mobile games where it's very similar, because these kinds of interactive media currently are so easy to, I mean, obviously it's a 5-hour film, like I know it took a lot of production, but like this is nothing new, I guess, like at least for us, like we've had experiences like you can play a very similar game, although it's about like you as a high school girl trying to kiss 20 boys, but you can access it on your phone like anytime, you know what I mean? And this Netflix series is kind of revolutionized, like, how highbrow you can get with this kind of format. So I think in the future we're going to see a lot of that replicated throughout all stories.
Did you guys
Oh,
ever
cool.
read those books, Choose Your Own Adventure?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's been happening. Like, do y'all like even like
Oh,
the
yeah.
text adventure game
Yeah.
Adventure on the
Yes.
PC back
Yeah.
in the 70s? Like that was like this has been a thing.
Mhm.
That's
For
the
a
game. That's
while.
Bandersnatch. Text-based.
That
Yeah. But that's what I think. Like they'll definitely do video games, and they'll definitely make more media similar to this because it's viable. It's something that people are comfortable with, and they like it, and they like feeling like they're in power, even though they're not. Which I guess is the point
and
of the
I
episode.
will say too, like now that Telltale is unfortunately shut down, and I talk about it a lot just 'cause, but there are companies that are moving into that space that
Yeah.
being in and around the sort of narrative interactive media portion of the industry, like I know of companies that are developing things that are moving into the space that Telltale left, but also like in a mobile format that is, like you said, sort of like choices or episodes, but are sort of geared towards good stories. I don't want to like bash anybody, but
Yeah, like more high production, like a lot more budget. Like
characters that have more than one dimension.
kiss a boy,
Have a
but pay $20, or everyone in high school hates you for free.
I think
I already had that happen to me. I was saying it happened.
you already kissed 20 boys and everyone in high school hated you?
Not the
Story
part,
time?
Not the first part. But, yeah.
No,
Why do I have to pay to see that happen?
I wonder though,
Anyway.
because I think that the initial reaction when Bandersnatch came out was so much hype, right? Like everyone's talking about it
Yeah.
on Twitter, everyone was
Yeah.
going crazy. And then I started to see a lot more, I started to see a lot less positivity about the movie coming out like 3 or 4 days after, probably after everyone like actually watched the movie and wasn't just tweeting about it to get that first grab on the likes or retweets. So I wonder, just being real, but I wonder though if the next movie that comes out like this, how many people will actually be retained to this kind of genre? Because I feel like if you're
That's true.
watching a movie, like I think that if you're gonna watch a movie and spend 3-4 hours watching a movie, you're gonna want to watch a movie that has a fluid plot, that has a lot of depth and
Yes.
complexity to it. Playing Bandersnatch for me, playing Bandersnatch, watching it, I would have rather, like Noelle, what you're saying, I would have rather played a Telltale game. I mean, I like playing video games, but I also feel like if you're the consumer who wants to watch a movie, I feel like you'd also just perhaps watch a movie instead of doing the interactive game, because there's so many other things that have a better grab on what they're doing, like those mobile games or like video games, that I don't know when we're going to see another movie like this or what direction they're going to take, because they're not going to have that social media hit of being the first of their genre, like the first interactive
I think I
movie.
read something somewhere though that they're developing another like interactive movie like that. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like
I totally believe that they would. I think Netflix would throw money into it. I just don't think it's going to be as successful.
because
I
the
mean-
novelty will wear off.
Yeah, I think the novelty is one thing, but also like Michaela, you were saying, like at first people are like trying to ride that hype train, trying to get the likes and retweets, and because it's relevant, and then 3 to 4 days, people are kind of really diving deep and probably roasting it a little bit or saying negative reviews. The press cycle for movies and media versus games is very different. So in games, there is certain things that only they go and they come and whatever, like in a day, and then there's some that, like for example, like we were talking about the Diablo release, people are still upset about that press cycle is 4 or 5 months. For movies it's a lot shorter usually, especially if it's on a streaming site versus something else. I think one of the movies that's actually stood the test of time is actually Into the Spider-Verse. There's a lot of people still talking about that.
Yeah.
So,
But still, I haven't watched it yet, but I want to watch it. But other movies, I know. I'm not really a movie person.
I'm not either. I'm like a friend.
watch it. Support
Yes.
like good animation.
Yeah, that's true. I know. It's like an incredible.
Well, if anyone
not
wants
like
to
a
go see
sway
it with
leaf.
me, I'll go see it, but I'm not gonna go with Gizmo.
Yeah, Troy doesn't like movies either. Okay, anyways,
Going
off topic.
No,
Yeah, but, like,
I always
that's
take a
the
nap.
Go to the movies at 10 a.m. on a Saturday.
No, bruh, I go
Oh.
to that movie theater that like they feed you the food, so I get like my chocolate dessert, get my blanket, my pillow, and I'm asleep, and I'm like, I just paid to take a nap.
And your martini, like Into the Spider-Verse. Yes, I'm just chilling.
You're
I'm
my
living the high life. Yeah, no, but like for example, like movies have a lot shorter of a press cycle, so it was interesting to see Bandersnatch like really be treated by, all of the people watching it. It wasn't a game, like to them. It was this like new thing, and I think that's really cool to see, because the next time that happens, I would like to see if that's the same response.
We're gonna see more of it.
Yes.
Predicting here, we're throwing the gauntlet down, the money here down.
Yeah,
We're
what
betting
gauntlet
it.
did you throw down? I didn't see you throw down a gauntlet.
Also, who throws a gauntlet like this?
We're throwing the gauntlet. This is shot put.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah,
Alright, I think have we wrapped up the news cycle of this week,
think we
ladies?
Yeah, I mean that's of the month basically. A lot of the stuff we talked about.
Month's news cycle, but I mean, really.
Only thing we didn't talk about was Ellie.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's not.
Which, by the way, again, like the gaming news cycle, very short. Like nobody really talks about that anymore. So,
What?
oh
You
my
gonna
god, did you
cut
bring
me
us some
with
scissors
What?
from
What?
San Diego to Arizona?
But I kept the jewel on my desk. Okay, I'm allowed one jewel. We don't need to get cutting me
I
now.
got
In
juice
the
box.
middle of the.
Yeah,
Wait, sip,
you sip your empty mug. You have nothing to say.
Tea is piping. What?
Michaela's roasting me again on this podcast.
What's new?
When will you learn?
Not in
When will you
2019.
Roasted podcast.
Roasted
Okay.
Log out. You know what? We're gonna go. I think we've set into madness. We're gonna go around and do our socials and introduce ourselves, our outro ourselves one last time. I'm Abby Sherlock. You can find me at Abby_Sherlock on all social medias.
Earlier, I said my name was me. It's not me, it's Michaela. But since you've watched the whole episode, I feel like we know each other well enough for me to tell you my name, and so let me tell you my socials. It's at Michaela Moriarty, Michaela Moriarty, like, you know, the arch nemesis in Sherlock Holmes, but on Twitter, it gets a little different. It's at Michaela, spelled the same way, with an A, and 2 N's.
Yes, and if Danny, our lovely editor, is doing her job, you can just read it down here. But I am Sabrina Wong. Thanks for listening to us. And you can find my socials here, hopefully right here. If not, it's at sabrina.wong on Instagram and at sabrinaw at Twitter. So thank you.
At Twitter. Hi, I'm Noelle. Yeah, and my socials are at Noelle Marie _W. The Noelle is spelled Noelle, not Noel, like Christmas thing. And it's the same thing for Instagram.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Look at us. Look at this.
Well,
Love it.
We
yes.
hope you guys
Thank
all
you.
have a lovely rest of your day, week, month, and for the Horde, see y'all next time.
We have a Jaina fangirl in this, and
Well, if you're a Jaina fangirl, I'm sorry. You should feel bad about yourself. Bye, everyone.